Hi everybody, my name is Melita Richardson and I am the multi-talented BBW from Jersey. And I mix music and makeup to create magic. So this video is going to be an introductory video, but a story time, as well as a get ready with me. And we are going to be discussing how a failed high school reunion turned into my first album release. This is one of the original copies that I got. I designed it, well, my best friend Blanca helped me design it. We did all the pictures ourselves. Really accomplished a lot in a short period of time. So what we're going to do first is we're going to prime, and I'm going to start off with my NYX professional makeup. Bear with me. Bear with me. I hope you guys like my press-up nails. I did these nails myself. Here's some ASMR. These are my nails. I did my nails myself. Okay, so it is the Proteiny Polypeptide Cream, and I just love it. It is super duper yummy, and I love this super hygienic pump base where you don't disturb the cream or the integrity of the cream. It's sealed, and the cream remains nice and fresh. I love that. Now, that's probably why the packaging costs a bit more, but it's okay. I'm also going to take some of my lip scrub. Eyes Cherry lip scrub from a brand called Lush. Lush is a vegan, I believe vegan, cruelty-free brand, and everything is made by hand. It's a little bit more expensive, but quality and conscious. You get good quality, you can keep a clear conscience that this wasn't made hurting any animals. If you care. Something else I feel like trying is, oh my god, I have wanted to try the Milk Hydro Grip Primer for a while, so I had got this from Sephora a while ago. They're having their VIB sale right now, and I cannot participate because I can't be spending no more money on makeup or anything because I'm about to get married. By the time this comes out, I will already be married, I think. Anyway, I'm not buying any new makeup, but this is a sample that I got a while ago, and here's my first time using it, so let's use it. Ow, ow, ow. Let's press it. Just a little sample packet. A little sample packet of our Milk Hydro Primer. Let's go ahead and pour it out. I'm very excited. Okay, it's got like a water cream jelly consistency. Okay. Let's see if y'all can see that. Oh, yeah, this feels like I'm putting Elmer's glue on my face. Which is not a bad thing. That means that whatever we apply is going to adhere nicely. And there's like a little bit of a bounce back, which I like. Seems nice. Seems nice. Now, I am 29 years old and I have very youthful skin. That's due to all that depression. I'll tell y'all about that later, but I spent about 2 years in the house and I feel like I didn't leave the house for nothing, so my face didn't age. I'm joking, but not really. So now we have our primer on our faces. How did a high school reunion turn into an album release party? Well, in 2019, we were gonna have a high school reunion. Now, what happened was that I graduated from high school in 2009, right? Something else I'd like to do before I get started is my Milani Soft Focus. I love to use this before I get started. It just adds that next level of luminosity to the skin. I will tell you, I wasn't the most popular person in high school. My high school experience was kind of like, I wasn't one of the popular kids, but I was actually very well known, which is funny, for being a class clown and for also being super hyper, but the most important thing was for singing. Everybody knew Melita sang. I sang in the hallways, who's that girl that's always singing, blah, blah, blah. Now, I was a big girl back in high school, and I went through the whole experience of being a fat girl in high school, but the one thing that I think made my experience just a bit different is because I sang and I made people laugh. So that was my experience. Foundations that I want to use real quick. I love Makeup Revolution's foundation formulas. I'm so glad I found out about them. I enjoy the Conceal and Define Full Coverage Foundation. And I also enjoy the Fast Base Stick Foundation. I use them together. I love the doe foot. I love how you can apply this like you would a concealer and really target it in certain areas. And I also love that you can just smear it across your face. I love the texture of the formula is a demi matte. So demi, like semi, like it's kind of a matte formula. Matte being it's more of a dry powder finish looking formula. And if it was going to be more dewy, then you'd have more of that wet cream textured formula, right? But it feels a little too dry, just a little bit for me. Like I love the texture of it, but it's not hydrating enough for my liking. So I use it in conjunction. I combine it with my stick foundation right here in shade F13, and like I said, I use this one in F13 as well. And fortunately and unfortunately, this is my second stick, and I've run out. I hit the bottom of it, but I just dig in there and I take what I need. 2 different formulas, same shade, and then I just mix. Of course, making sure that we are blending. And then about in 2018, yeah, the end of 2018, top of 2019, I got the idea because some of us had been talking on Facebook about there being a high school reunion. I swear I thought that high school reunions were always taken care of by the school that you went to. I don't know why I thought this, but I thought that the administrators of the school reached out to the students after 10 years, whoever they thought they knew or whatever, and I thought that they, got everything together and had a high school reunion and set it up for us. But when I found out that's not how it went, I took over and I took responsibility and I said, okay, you know what? Let's have a reunion. There was a lot of talk, but no action from anybody in particular. And I started planning it 10 months out because I figured we would need the time. So at first, when I posted and said, hey, let's schedule a high school reunion, I'm going to help us get it together, a whole bunch of people were excited. So I created a page, I created a group on Facebook, I created an Instagram page. And what I did was I told people, hey, add more people to this group. And so more people joined. So pretty much within like a few days, it went from being like 40 people to like 250 people, and we had a total class of 500. So for there to be like 250 people in like a few days, we almost had half our high school class join the group or be sent to the group. So it started out cool. Like we had a lot of enthusiasm, and so what I did was I ran polls because I was like, okay, who wants to do this? Who wants to do that? So I made polls, and I would make the poll, and I would say, do you guys want live music, or do you want a DJ? Do you want someone to put it on their iPad? Whatever. Like, I ran polls within the groups, and then I would get people to respond, and the people who responded to things the most, that's what we were going to do. And so I had, out of the 250, at least 100 people that were engaged in doing this. And Pro Match sticks and espresso, that's what I'm using to contour. I'm just shaping my nose. I don't like to do too much, but I do like to add shape. Not necessarily make my nose look thinner. And then because I ain't got no jawline, I create one. Boom. I ain't got no jawline, so I create one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Fenty brush, the original foundation brush, a little bit of my Bear With Me spray. I'm going to use that to clean this up. Things started out really good. Now, the one thing that I will go back and say, which I, of course, at the time didn't know to do, pretty much, I wish I would have started a committee and that we would have agreed to like 4 or 5 people being in charge. But because I started it on my own, because I saw no one else starting it, I just figured, okay, do all this work yourself. Set up everything, ask everybody, get a hold of everybody, blah, blah, blah yourself. And although I did add a few people to a private group that we were trying to like plan this with, it didn't work out. It's like, even if you do plan this stuff, you don't really have any control over who's going to really participate in the end. So like I was saying, I would have come up with a committee, had a group of people that would have been super duper committed to this, at least 5 to 10 people. So, and probably organized it to you're taking care of this, you're taking care of that, stuff like that. But instead, I took all the responsibility because I didn't want to, because I honestly didn't know anything else. I didn't know how to schedule this, and I looked up stuff and I Googled stuff. But yeah, and I had a lot of people thanking me, saying, thank you for starting this, thank you for coming up with this, like, thank you for getting it together. And I'm happy that I could, but in the end, this all kind of blew up in my face, and my kindness was not really what is it? No good deed goes unpunished. Was like, pretty much what I have to say is this. And again, I don't want anybody to get offended because, well, it's the truth. It's what happened. But I had found a person who I was like, okay, people loved her in high school because she was funny. They enjoyed her. They enjoyed how funny she was. So I was like, okay, she'll host it. And I asked, do y'all want her to host it? She'll host it. Okay, fine. And then there was another girl who's going to co-host it. Pretty much the way I was trying to do this was we had a lot of black kids and a lot of white kids. And we had the black kids who were the popular ones and they were down for this sort of thing. And we had the white kids that were also kind of popular but like stuck together. Pretty much our school was very integrated and we had a lot going on, but in certain ways we were separated. And so I wanted to make sure everybody felt welcome is what I'm trying to say. So for the blacks and Latinos, I had one person. For another person, I had another person. This person didn't do much, and I guess she really didn't have to because she was really going to be the host. And the other person tried to sort of switch things up. God bless her. Again, no shade to anybody. I'm sharing this story because honestly, it's part of the story of how this album came out. He wanted to, I don't know, everything had been planned out. Like I said, I ran polls for where do you guys want to eat? What kind of music do you want to listen to? I ran polls for when do you even want this? And a lot of people said they wanted it during the summer. They didn't want it during the holidays. And that's like 40, 50, 60, 100 people who are voting on these polls. So I'm like, okay, I guess we'll do it during the summer. And then we tried to figure out some dates and some weekends and what could work. And we got a general consensus. Everybody said June 9th. So that's what I had said would be the plan, right? So that was all settled before this girl joined in and was like, okay, I'm gonna help you plan it. And I was like, okay, cool. So she kind of was like, okay, I put something up for everyone. And I'm like, okay, I thought she was gonna collect emails. I thought she was going to, help figure out how much things cost and shit like that. She hits me up and is like, oh, a post couldn't get approved in the group because you have to approve it. And I'm like, oh, what is she talking about? And the reason why I had the group limited to what gets posted or that needed approval is because we had some people that were trying to post a bunch of nonsense in the group, to be honest with you. And I was like, okay, let's try not to let this get too out of control. So I had automatically put it to where only approved posts get posted. So I just added concealer. By the way, I wasn't going to tell you guys what I was doing, but I added concealer to the high points of my face. This is also part of the Matchstick Trio by Rihanna, and this is in the color Suede. I put it underneath the eyes, forehead, nose, above my lip, and above my chin. And I could just blend the two into each other. It just all looks really nice. First, the person created this, I don't know, it was like a sign-up sheet with a database to get everybody's information, right? So she went off to go do it, and then I was looking at it, I was like, what date do you guys want? It said, what date do you guys want to do it at? And I'm looking, I'm like, we already discussed the date. We already discussed the date, we discussed the time, we discussed the venue, we discussed all that. And I'm just like, I thought you were looking for, getting people to start paying for their tickets or whatever. And so when I saw that, I'm like, we already did that. And so I didn't approve that post in the group because I was like, I really don't want to confuse people in the group. We already discussed a date and then we're going to sit here and discuss another date. What? So I went back to her and I was like, hey, we already kind of figured out which date we were going to do. So the original dilemma was the venue. And it was the down payment on the venue, which they needed a certain amount. I think it was $500 or something like that. The tickets were going to be, the venue cost total $6,500, and you needed to sell a minimum of 100 tickets, which is $65 a ticket, right? But that just cost the venue. That didn't include music or a DJ. That didn't include any of the miscellaneous costs. So I spoke with a few people from the high school, like I said, because I didn't have an official committee, but I had certain people from the high school that I was talking to, and I discussed this. This is a dilemma, how are we going to do this, that, and the third. So we added, or at least I came up with the idea to add an extra $1,000 to the entire thing, so it's $7,500. And that was going to cover the DJ, the music, that was going to cover any miscellaneous cost. And also the reason why I tagged on the extra $10 per ticket, is because somebody else who went to the high school that had planned the high school reunion for the group before us was having trouble with them not paying for their tickets, and she was coming up short. And it was at the same exact venue that we found, because the venue that I chose was the venue that they were having their reunion at, and she wasn't getting enough tickets sold, and she was just warning me and giving me a heads up on the hassle of gathering everybody to pay for their ticket to go to this high school reunion, and making sure that the people pay for their food, the tickets, all that stuff. So I charged $75 per ticket, and it was including all of that, right? So I got a couple people to pay for tickets, but not enough for the down payment. So I was thinking that I would front the down payment. Then that girl that I'm telling you about had said she would do it, right? And so I was like, okay, cool. If you want to write the check, you could drop it off, or you could let me know, or I take it and I'll drop it off. Because here's my thing: if you say you want to do something, just do it, right? Or I told her where she could drop it off, whatever. And what I'm trying to say is she was never serious. You know how I know? Because she and her little clique wanted it done a certain kind of way. And I'm realizing that now. And when I pretty much told her, no, we're not changing the date, and no, we're not changing this or that, all of a sudden, all this, I want to help, and I want to help do this, I want to help do that, just kind of went down the drain. She started to be in contact with me less and less, to the point where she finally was like, hey, I really can't help plan this, I'm so sorry. And what's funny is she's the same person that had told me, hey, you should get a venue for like 500 people. And I was like, huh? Because the high school class was roughly 500 people. She said, so we need a place that's going to have at least 1,000 seats. So you should definitely pick a venue that fits 1,000 seats. And then I looked into it, and the only venue near us that fits 1,000 people was the place that we had our high school prom at. And that costs a total of, I think it was like $13,000. And I would need to put down a down payment of like $2,000 or something for it to happen, or something like that. Imagine if I would have taken her advice and went through with that, and she would have at the end bounced on me. Could you imagine? I would have been on the hook for over $10,000. You know what I'm saying? So several months go by, and the participation is less and less. I started to create messenger groups on Facebook Messenger, and I started to add hundreds of people to groups. And I was asking them, hey, did you buy your ticket? Are you buying your ticket? You know, here's everything that's included in your ticket. This is the place, this is the time. And, you know, originally I had a handful of people who paid for their ticket early enough that I didn't need this girl's money. I didn't need this girl's money because she wasn't really giving me the money to pay for it. By the way, it almost felt like she didn't trust me, because she was like, how about we set up an app, and then we pay the app, and we let the app pay the venue? And I'm like, so I remember asking the venue, do you take PayPal? They were like, no. It was like, okay, if you're going to pay the down payment to get things started, then pay the down payment to get things started. She was like, oh, me and my friends will definitely help. We'll definitely get everything together just to get it started, whatever. And none of it happened. And I really do feel like it's because I didn't let her step in and switch everything up the way she wanted to. And in the end, she dipped anyway. So like I said, imagine if I would have done what she said. Imagine what kind of situation I'd be in. So as we got closer to the event, because again, I started planning for this maybe October of 2018, and it was going to happen in June 2019. As I got closer to it, around like the February, March, April time, I started to get nervous, because that whole time, which again, this is around the time that I lost my job, I was trying to get another job, I was trying to do a whole bunch of things, but I was focusing way too much on this high school reunion. I was literally spending time, like hours, some days, between trying to do other projects for myself, messaging people, to the point where like my thumb got stiff as hell, because I had never been messaging anyone that hard. I was sending out text messages day by day, because I knew, they may not have knew, but I knew that I signed that contract. And again, this is something I didn't know, but when you book a venue, you do sign a contract. It's not going to be on the entire high school class. It's not going to be on the high school itself. It's on whoever signs the contract with the venue. That's the person who is responsible for bringing up the money. I did not truly consider that when I signed the contract, because I was under the impression that this is definitely going to happen. Like, out of 500 students, we can get 100 people to buy tickets. And you pretty much called me, like, I think 6 months in, and was like, hey, we haven't gotten another installment. And I was like, yeah, you know, I'm trying to get people to pay for the class. And she pretty much was like, well, listen. So she said pretty much if you don't have the full payment by the time it's due, she was like, we'll cancel your event and you'll still owe the money. And I was just like, oh shit. I was able to get maybe like 20 more tickets sold, something like that. And I still had a balance of $4,800 that was waiting. So around May, because I'm skipping ahead a lot because there was a whole lot of back and forth, me reaching out to people, and it got to the point where like majority of these people were ghosting me. They would read the message and not reply, or they would not get back to me, or nobody was buying their ticket. And I had people who bought tickets I had like a small pocket of people who were like, hey guys, let's help buy tickets, let's do this. They were posting up pictures, posting up this, trying to share that, trying to promote everything. And it wasn't enough. And I did see people getting upset for me, because people talked all that crap, and it's just the biggest lesson. Like, people talked all that crap about being ready for the event. People talked about wanting to buy tickets for the event. They talked about how excited they were. They talked about how they couldn't wait to do it here, and that they love and heard of this venue, and they can't wait to eat there, and oh my god, whatever. All of that and nothing. Like, I look back now and I'm like, damn girl, you did too much. Like, I should have tried to cancel that thing 3 months in when I noticed people weren't buying tickets. Like, I should have gotten myself out of it even sooner, because at least I wouldn't have had to pay the majority of the money. I think if I would have canceled earlier, they would have kept the down payment and needed like a fourth of the deposit, or a fourth of the entire amount, something like that. But the closer you wait, like when it's 6 months and they want half, or you get, you know what I'm saying? So if I would have canceled it sooner, I probably would not have gotten myself tied up in that much of the cost. And there was even this dude who I had been on the phone with him trying to plan out this reunion, who was like, yo, if people don't got $75, like, they just lying, like, this is gonna happen, blah, blah, blah. He ghosted me. Thinking about it now, it's a sore spot for certain specific people, not the entire class. Like, 95% of y'all, like, it doesn't matter. But for the people who I actually was talking to and was actually working with and in contact with, and who were supposed to be there to help, that shit was over. Like, that was shit. And I realized a lot of people are full of crap. Like, they offer opinions, but they don't offer any sort of like real investment. And that's something I've learned, that people like to offer opinions, but not always an investment. You know, I took it a little personally, because it felt as if the majority of people who were not replying, I'm like, is it because I wasn't popular in high school? Is it because y'all didn't really mess with me, that y'all not really about it because, you know, I'm the one behind all of this? Is that it? Like, somebody had mentioned, and this was out of good, like, she was saying this out of the kindness of her heart. She wasn't trying to be funny, but she was just like, maybe we should try to get one of the more popular kids from high school to like jump on this. Like, you know, she started naming names, and the thing was, those people were not trying to be a part of it. You know, I did have one person, or no, I got a couple people. I did get a few popular kids to like message or post or like share it on their story. Hey, we're setting up the high school reunion, who's going, you know, trying to hype people up. But then I would see people in the comments on Facebook be like, yeah, who's paying $75 to go to a high school reunion to hang out with people they didn't like? And I'm just like, damn, okay. I was like, okay, I am way in over my head. This is not gonna happen. Shit. And like I said, it was just weird how that turned out, because I had so many people that were like excited at first, who totally agreed to everything. And then when it came time to pay for that ticket, the other thing is, people have kids now, people have families now. Maybe they were excited at first, and then they realized, I don't want to have to pay for a babysitter, or they got 5, 6, 7, 9, 10 kids, and they all got to be taken care of, and they don't want to give up one day. There's just a million and one reasons why people weren't down, but it was the amount, like the magnitude of people that weren't down, and the amount of money that I was looking at owing this venue for not having enough people at the event. The girl that was planning for the high school reunion from the year prior was having her event that year, right? Was having her event that year, and even she came up short. But luckily, her committee and group of people that were helping her plan it came up with the money and gave it to her, or gave the money to the venue so that she wouldn't be holding the bag for me, most of the class, I don't know if they even knew that I would be personally responsible for the balance, and I didn't put it out there that way because I don't know, maybe, I don't know if it would have made a difference. I don't think it would have made people turn around and say, yo, you know what, Lita, like, we got you, we got you, like, don't worry about it, we're gonna take care of it, blah, blah, blah. There's no guarantee that even if I would have mentioned that they would have came through for me, and it would have felt worse, and it would have hurt worse had I been like, guys, I'm personally responsible for this money if y'all don't pay up for the venue. If people would have been like, well, that was your choice, bitch, you shouldn't have done this or that. That's why I was like, okay, let me just focus on remaining positive, let me just try to promote as much as I can. And when it didn't work and it all fell through, the 25 people that paid for tickets pretty much were very supportive of me because they were invested in this reunion as well. But I turned around and I was like, okay guys, I don't know what to do. So I wound up talking to my moms, and I talked to a few of my best friends. And honestly, with my best friends, they straight up told me from the jump they weren't really interested. It had nothing to do with me. It was more so they just wasn't really interested. And so with them, I wasn't too surprised when they didn't buy tickets because they just weren't interested. So I got that. And a lot of people were playing the waiting game as well. By the way, I'm using a classic highlighting. It's the highlighting Ginger Binge and Moscow Mule from the Fenty line. This is one of her kilowatt highlighters. I've had it for years. A month out. And I think I also was in denial for a long time, and that's why I didn't hop on this shit sooner. Now, I'm about to do my eyebrows and my eyeshadow, and this is a very inexpensive palette, so I like it a lot. This is the NYX Ultimate Shadow Palette, and this is in USPO3, the Warm Neutrals palette. And I like this palette because it's inexpensive, and if you're using a proper primer, you should get a lot of use out of it. So I'm using it for my eyebrows, so I'm gonna take this. It looks so ashy up on this camera, but I'm gonna take this color and I'm gonna take a bit of that color. I'm gonna go right here. I'm just gonna fill in my eyebrow, that's all. Just a little something, something. Like, once I was out of denial, I kind of was like, okay, this isn't gonna happen. So I realized it was a dub. Nobody was coming to this event. I was very thankful to the people who did buy tickets, but I was like, I'm sorry, we're gonna have to cancel this. And it was actually my best friend. I'm gonna refer to 4 best friends as Mimi, Cece, BB, and Lily. Okay. And Cece pretty much was like, yo, I think I had already thought about making this an album release party and like making an album, but I mentioned it to her and she was like, yeah, you should do that. Like, you should definitely do that. Like, stop bullshitting and go do that. And I was like, yo, you're fucking right. Like, this reunion is not panning out, and I can't even get a response from most of these people. Nobody cares about this, and no one cares about what I did towards trying to make it happen. And I think the people who were trying to help were trying to control it more, and that clique or that niche of people, when it wasn't gonna go exactly how they wanted it to go, I noticed that they all did. It's not here nor there, but I think that's kind of part of the reason why I didn't have support from that group of people anymore. So there's that. But when me and my friend were talking, and she was just like, yeah, just make it an album release party. Like, don't even bother with anything else. Like, I had to do it because it was like, what other choice do I have? It's like, this would be a very good excuse for me to actually put out some music for the first time. It would force me to do that because that's the one thing I've not done in my entire ever in my life, was I never created a body of work because I've been talking shit about doing it for years, and I was already 26, 27 when this all happened, and I did not look at at my album release party as, oh my god, this is my first stepping stone to becoming a career. I looked at it like, this is a means to an end. Like, this is just like what I had to do because the reunion didn't happen. And I wish I wouldn't have been thinking that way, but I was already going through so much financially, emotionally, mentally, physically, that I was just trying to push through as best as I could because the idea of me owing $4,800 for an event that wasn't going to happen was killing me. And I wasn't going to beg a group of people to please buy tickets for this reunion because I need you to not leave me hanging. That wasn't what I was going to do. You could call it pride. You could say maybe I should have said it. Maybe I should have been more forthcoming and been like, hey, this is all on me if y'all don't pay for these tickets. But the way people handled that, and I just doubt it would have mattered. And it's okay. It's okay now. But I guess it was my pride that just wouldn't allow me to like be like, guys, I'm desperate, please, because it wouldn't have changed anything, and then I would have been out there begging people for something that they weren't going to come through on anyway. You know what I mean? So we've got our transition color in the corners blown out, and with the same brush, I'm going to go for just a lighter color. This color at the top corner, right here. And I'm using that same brush, but I'm using the side of it. And I'm just going to go ahead and just put that on 2/3 of the lid. Okay, not all the way. And then I'm going to go in with this darker color that I put on my brows. Oops. I'm going to go in with this darker color that I already put on my brows right here. And just right at that outer corner. Ooh, we got some fallout, don't we? That's okay. Just right here. Just to round out that shape. Same on the other side. Just press it right into that outer corner. Something simple and sweet. Once I made the decision to not have the high school reunion anymore, I put up posts everywhere. Put it in all those group chats I made. Put it in all the groups. Put it in all the pages that were for the high school reunion, and I pretty much just let everybody know. Hey, I pretty much hit everybody up and was like, look, the high school reunion is not happening. I'm going to make an album, and I'm going to make this album release parties instead. If you guys want to, I will refund your money. I knew what kind of situation I was in. I was royally fucked, okay? I was going to owe that money regardless. So I said, fuck it. I'd rather owe that money for an event that is for myself. I wish I would have came up with this idea long ago. I should have canceled the reunion way earlier when I saw people were playing games. Instead, I waited till the last minute to see if people were going to come through, and they didn't. So, and in the end, I kind of put myself in that situation because I probably could have just canceled it sooner and then done that. Or just not have tried to do it at all. Just the beautiful thing that they did is most of them let me keep it. Most of them told me they didn't want their money back. Most of them actually said, you planned this shit for almost a year. Like, I don't want my money back. It's fine. You can keep that. And it made me cry. I don't think they even know. Like, those people don't even know how deeply they affected me by letting me keep a lot of that money, because I don't even know where I was going to get all that money from. And they allowed me to keep it, and they allowed me to have my event. Now, there were some that wanted their money back. And I did send them their money back. I hope I did. If you didn't get your money back, let me know. Another thing I regret, is I marked the tickets down. Instead of keeping the tickets at $75 a ticket, I marked the tickets down to like $50. Because I was like, okay, I'm a complete stranger. Who is going to pay their good money to come see a whole stranger sing? I should have left it up so that people who came and bought tickets would have, I don't know, I would have gotten more money. But in the end, it doesn't make a difference. I was still short, so it's fine. But I probably could have asked for the full 75 and still had gotten people to come. But so there was a little drama, not much, but a little drama, because somebody on my page saw that I canceled the reunion, right? But I also had marked the tickets down for the exact same venue at the exact same time for the same, for a lower cost. And she was like, so wait, let me get this straight. You cancel our reunion and you charge $25 less for your own event? And I didn't see that comment. My best friend did, Cece, and she was just like, yo, did you see what so-and-so said? And I looked and I'm like, really? And she was like, you want me to say something? I was like, nah, it's fine. I'll keep it calm. So I commented, and I remember being like, listen, it is what it is. But I think she rebutted, and I just was like, if she knew everything that I had been through for the event that's not happening no more, that I already invested way too much time in, that I already got contractually was already obligated to make happen. If she knew, like, when she gave me that rebuttal, I was just like, but mind you, this person didn't buy a ticket. And if you're watching, girl, all tea, no shade, I'm just sharing a story. She didn't buy a ticket. So I'm thinking, what are you mad about? What are you upset about? You didn't even buy a ticket. You didn't invest anything in this event at all. So what are you talking about? So when I saw that she had left that comment, and I don't remember if she rebutted or, because I deleted the whole thread because I didn't want to be out here arguing and looking crazy with her. But yeah, that triggered me, man. That triggered me because I was just like, it was almost like, how dare you? Like, how dare you be upset for something you didn't even put money towards? It was ridiculous to me. So I wound up contacting her privately in Messenger, and actually she wound up telling me, that she understands or whatever, and actually that someone else told her to take it easy with me. And I guess because they let her know, like, I've been through too much. I don't need anyone else giving me any more shit about anything. And I do think she said something like, and she said something that was true. That was very true. She was like, you chose to do this. You chose to sign this, or something like that. Like, you chose to do that. And that was the exact response I wasn't trying to hear from people, because I didn't want to be reminded how far I went. That's kind of why I'm making this video as well, because I need you guys to know where this album came from and where the tension and the heat and the aggression to make this album came from. So that's why I'm sharing this video, because I just need you guys to know where my headspace was at when I made the album and where my headspace is now, which is I don't care. So if people see this video and feel some kind of way, or are like, damn, like, you still talking about it? Like, damn, you bitter? Like, damn, like, it's still on your mind? Like, yeah, like, it was a very expensive mistake I made trying to make something happen for everybody. And it was my decision and my choice, but it's also my story to share. And I will share that story for as long as I want, whenever I want, because it's my right to do so. Just making sure I put that out there. Just something simple. 2 colors. Nothing crazy. Lap gloss. By the way, this lip gloss is the NYX Candy Slick Glow Lip Color. And this is in the color Watermelon Taffy. I took my hair out the ponytail so you guys can see how it looks with my wig. Okay, I'm getting hyper now. Okay, so at this point, decided to do the album release party. I let everybody know I'm canceling the high school reunion, and I had 2 weeks. I waited so late, but I had 2 weeks to make an album. Alright guys, so at this point, the video is pretty much over. I decided to cut this video because it's already at 38 minutes, and so I want you guys to stick around for part 2, which will be how I produced an album in 2 weeks. And I just want to say, for those of you who stuck around and watched till the end, thank you so much. I appreciate your beautiful faces. I really hope you get to know Melita a lot better. And I hope that you get to really enjoy this album once I push all the songs onto my YouTube channel. Please make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Click the bell button twice so that you can get your alerts whenever I upload a video. Stick around and I will have part 2 out shortly. Thank you, love you, stay black, and goodbye.